Hey everyone, welcome to the Cobwebs YouTube channel where we are dusting off classic cinema. My name is Daniel Epler and today we're going to be talking about Shout Factory Select. So there was just a Shout Factory Select sale on the Shout Factory website and I picked up some titles, so this is going to be a haul video, but this is also going to double as a complete collection video because I'm going to talk about my entire Shout Factory Select collection. And I can do that without worrying too much because it's not very big. So Shout Factory Select is run by Shout Factory. Obviously, they also run Scream Factory. And they're basically Scream Factory, except they are not genre specific. So they put out any kind of movie. And in theory, I really like them. But a lot like Criterion, they're very expensive. They tend to run between $25 and $30. So previously, I only had a few, but this Shout Factory Select sale was actually really, really good. Great deals. I picked up some really cool stuff. So I'm going to show you what I picked up, and then I'm going to show you everything I have from Shout Factory Select. So let's just get started. So first of all, I picked up their 3 Veronica Lake and Alan Ladd film noir movies. They put out 3 film noir flicks, all starring Veronica Lake and Alan Ladd, and this was what I really wanted. I mean, come on guys, you know my taste. This is what I was super excited about. I've always wanted these movies, but again, usually around $20-25 for these, and they were between $15 and $12 for this, so very cool stuff. So first of all is The Gun for Hire from 1942. This is their first collaboration. And I believe this one is basically about, let's see, Alan Ladd is a professional killer and Veronica Lake is a nightclub singer. And I'm sure they get wrapped up in a web of intrigue. I've never seen any of these 3 Veronica Lake flicks, so I'm very, very excited to do so. Let me show you what we've got inside. All right, so you can see the disc right there. Not a alternate cover art exactly, but you do get some additional art in there. Very, very cool. Very excited to watch this movie. I like Veronica Lake a lot. I haven't seen her in a ton of things. I mean, we just talked about her in Sullivan's Travels, and I also really liked her in I Married a Witch, which is a fun kind of pre-Bewitched comedy with her and Frederick March. So I'm definitely a fan of her. So that is The Gun for Hire. Next up is The Glass Key, also from 1942. One reason I'm really excited to watch this one is Keith Rich recently talked about this on the Film Feast podcast. He runs an Instagram channel, and he just appeared on the Film Feast podcast, which I'm a big fan of, and I've had the privilege of guesting on a few times. And yeah, he talked about this one and how he really liked it, so I'm very, very interested. This is Lake and Ladd, but also starring Brian Donlevy. I'm not so sure about Brian Donlevy, guys. I've seen him in quite a few B movies from the 1940s, and he's always been fine, but I've just never really connected to him. So I'm sure the main draw for this is Lake and Ladd anyway. But I'm interested to see if I get on the Brian Donlevy train for this one. It's got an interesting plot. Brian Donlevy is a politician, and I think he gets framed for a murder. Yeah, he's accused of a murder, and it ends up being a murder mystery mostly run by Alan Ladd, who is like kind of his right-hand man. And Veronica Lake is the politician's socialite fiance who starts flirting with Alan Ladd because, of course, she does. And yeah, it just sounds like a ball of fun. Something I haven't talked about yet is the special features. Now, I was interested in the special features for these, and I didn't look them up before buying the movies because I'm like, oh, shoot, these old film noir movies are going to get the Shout Factory treatment. They're going to be packed with special features. And not really the case. These are much more like Kino Lorber discs. This one has a commentary and a trailer. Commentary is by Alan K. Rode and Steve Mitchell. And then The Gun for Hire is, first of all, it's a new 4K scan, so that is very cool. This one does not say that. But this one has an audio commentary with the exact same team, a trailer, and a still gallery. Still gallery, yeah. And before we move on to the next one, though, I do want to show you the disc. Right in there. Again, not alternate cover art, but we do get some additional art in there. Kind of like an old-fashioned poster from the 1940s. Very, very cool. And next up, the Blue Dahlia. For some reason, this is the one that I was mostly aware of, so I've been very interested in this movie for quite some time. I'm very excited to finally watch it. Apparently, this was Alan Ladd and Veronica Lake's final collaboration. It is from 1946. And yeah, apparently, Alan Ladd is accused of killing his unfaithful wife, and he's on the run to solve this mystery, and he's got Veronica Lake along for the ride. Pretty standard noir plot right there, but hey, I'll take it. This one, again, has an audio commentary from the same team, Alan K. Rode and Steve Mitchell. Kind of cool right here. This has got a 1949 Screen Guild theater radio production of the Blue Dahlia. Interesting. A trailer and a photo gallery. And inside we have got the disc and that additional art. Very, very cool releases, honestly, especially for the price. Like, they don't have a ton of special features, so I don't know how psyched I would be about paying 20, 25 bucks, but paying like 12, 15, totally worth it. Very excited to watch these. And there will definitely be a additional Cobwebs episode on the channel, just focused on these 3 movies, Shout Factory, Veronica Lake movies. So after I've watched these, we'll talk about them in more detail. The next thing I got is very different than those movies. It is Streets of Fire, which is a 1984 rock musical directed by Walter Hill. I've seen this movie before, and I don't know that I totally got it. Like, I liked it, but I didn't like totally connect with it as much as I wanted to connect to a 1984 rock musical directed by Walter Hill, because that just sounds amazing. This is starring Diane Lane. She is a lead singer of a rock band, and she ends up getting kidnapped by this bad guy played by Willem Dafoe. And this dude, tough guy, basically, Western hero type. He's like her ex-boyfriend, and he goes on a mission to save her. And I remember being interesting, and I've just really been wanting to rewatch it lately. This is a favorite of Patrick Bromley, who is the host of the F This Movie podcast, which is my favorite movie podcast. And he recently did an episode on the Dorking Out Show, which is another podcast I love, talking about this movie. And it really just made me like, I gotta watch this movie again. And it's not free streaming anywhere, so I just thought, it's on sale. I'll pick up that Blu-ray. Inside, we have got 2 different discs, because this thing is packed with special features. You got the feature film on one disc, and then you got the special features on the other. Now, this one, you've actually got additional cover art. Like, okay, so I really like the original, the new cover art that Shout Factory did. That's pretty, but the original cover art, you guys, that is just stunning. I absolutely love that cover art. So I think that's going to get a switch. Let's switch it right now, actually. Can I just talk while I switch it, or should I do a quick cut? I think I'm not going to do a cut, so you're just going to hang out with me for a little bit. All right. Original cover art for Streets of Fire. That's stunning. I wish I had the slipcover for this, but the slipcover's out of print by this point, and that's okay. I got it cheaper and didn't get a slipcover, so I'm all good with that. By the way, I've got this Vincent Price t-shirt if you've been wanting to look at it. Isn't that awesome? Shout out to the Full Price Podcast. Their Twitter page tweeted out the link for this shirt that was actually on eBay, and I picked it up immediately, and it is awesome. So that is my pickups for the sale. I got the 3 Veronica Lake Alan Ladd Noirs, and I got Streets of Fire. So next, let's talk about my complete Shout Factory Select collection, which is only 4 more movies. So I doubled my collection in this sale. First up, we've got Valley Girl, which is a 1983, I want to say. Yeah, 1983 teen movie, kind of a teen comedy, but definitely a teen romance. One of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's my favorite 80s teen movie. I don't think anything beats this. It's starring Nicolas Cage and Deborah Foreman, and I'm a huge Deborah Foreman fan. She's in stuff like April Fool's Day and My Chauffeur, which is a really fun 80s movie that Vinegar Syndrome actually put out. Not a normal Vinegar Syndrome movie, because it's kind of a sweet romantic comedy. But obviously I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan. I absolutely adore Nicolas Cage with all my heart. And in this, he's so young and he's so just fresh faced, but also intense. He's got that Nicolas Cage intensity, but in a different way than he will later. So Valley Girl is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's got a killer soundtrack. It's basically a telling of Romeo and Juliet. You've probably seen this one. I bought this movie because, I blind bought it because it was not available to stream anywhere. You can stream this movie now. So if you don't want to blind buy the Blu-ray and you haven't seen it, just pay $3-4. If it's not free stream on Amazon Prime or something, and rent this film. Absolutely. I do recommend the release though, because it's packed with a lot of special features, and there's one special feature in particular that I absolutely love. It's called in here In Conversation with Martha Coolidge and Nicolas Cage. Martha Coolidge is the director of this movie, and I think it's from the 1990s, maybe early 2000s, but by the look of Nicolas Cage, I would say late 90s. And it's him and Martha Coolidge just sitting in chairs across from each other talking about the movie. And I love to hear Nicolas Cage talk, because you would think he's like weird and super quirky and crazy intense, but he's not really. Anytime I see him in an interview, he's so nice. He's so down to earth. And one thing I love about him is he seems to have so much adoration and respect for everyone he's worked with. And you can tell he has so much respect for Martha Coolidge, and he's so appreciative to her for giving him his big chance, which was this movie. And it's a really heartwarming discussion, but also you learn stuff about the movie. So I can't recommend this release enough, at least for that featurette, but definitely also for the movie. All right, let's move right along. More Nicolas Cage, Wild at Heart, which is a David Lynch movie. here's the thing about this movie. It's my least favorite of my current Shout Factory Select collection, but it has certain scenes that are some of the best scenes like ever in a movie. Like for the whole movie as a whole, I don't love all of it. I don't adore it as much as certain other David Lynch movies. David Lynch is not like my favorite director. He's not one of my top favorites. I know that's true for a lot of people. Not quite true for me. But there is a scene in this movie where Nicolas Cage is at a club dancing with his girlfriend, who in this movie is played by Laura Dern. They're an incredible team in this. Laura Dern, she's awesome in this film. But they're dancing. Some guy hits on Laura Dern. Nicolas Cage punches him out, grabs a microphone from the band that's playing in the club, and sings the entirety of an Elvis song to Laura Dern, and the camera just stays with him. He just sings the entire song to her, and it's why cinema was invented. It's one of my favorite scenes in a movie ever. So there are some incredible scenes in this film. As a whole, like, I don't love everything about the movie, but this one also has Willem Dafoe, actually, a really gross, creepy Willem Dafoe, much like Streets of Fire. And let's see, that is the original art. Very, very cool. So that is Wild at Heart. Oh boy, such a favorite here. Joe Dante's Matinee. I was so happy. This was one that I bought right away as soon as they released this film. This movie for a long time only existed on DVD. I held off on buying the DVD because I was hoping for a Blu-ray, but I kept renting it from my local library because it's such a favorite movie. It basically takes place in the 1960s during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it's about a kid that's basically a stand-in for Kid Joe Dante. He's a little bit of a loner, he's a little bit awkward, but he loves going to the movies and watching old monster movies, sci-fi movies, B-movies, stuff like that. John Goodman plays a stand-in for William Castle. Like, he's not William Castle, but he's William Castle, and he strikes up a little bit of a bond with the kid, and they put on this he screens his new B movie, which is called Mant, and he has a guy dress up in the ant costume and everything, and it gets pretty wacky and everything, but it has so much heart. And if you like movies, you like movie theaters, you like old movies, old sci-fi movies, this movie is just made exactly to make you happy. Like, that was Joe Dante's goal. It's tied with another movie for my favorite Joe Dante movie, and I'll get to that movie in a second. But that is the original cover art. Very, very cool. Oh, do you want to see the disc? You probably already own this movie, right? You certainly should. All right, so let's talk about The Burbs. Movie tied with Matinee for my favorite Joe Dante movie. Incredible. My favorite 1980s comedy. Like, I like a lot of 1980s comedies. This one is my absolute favorite. You know, there's no mean-spiritedness to this movie, really. There's no, like, creepy politics. There's no misogyny or racism like you can sometimes run up, like, especially in like John Hughes movies. You know, I'm not canceling anything. I'm just saying that like certain 1980s comedies have stuff where you're just like, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but I'll watch the movie anyway. The Burbs doesn't have any of that. It is just incredibly good-hearted, but also has a great foot in the horror genre. It's way creepier than you expect it to be. I watched this movie on Netflix one day with absolutely no expectations, not knowing it was a Joe Dante movie, just like, oh, Tom Hanks comedy, I'll watch it. I couldn't believe how interesting it was, how original it was, how much horror stuff is going on here, but it's so funny. It's an incredibly funny movie. You've probably seen The Burbs. That is the original cover art. I love the original cover art, but this is really, really good too. There's actually an alternate version of the movie on here too. There's the disc. Very, very cool. Yeah, it's a work print that includes deleted and extended scenes. I've seen some of it. I've definitely heard some of the differences. I've not sat down and watched through the entire work print because, you know, why would I need to? It's not like this is the theatrical cut of Justice League or anything. This is a perfect movie. Yeah, so The Burbs is amazing. That is my entire Shout Factory Select collection. I didn't take the time to put stuff back in the slipcover, so that's a little bit messy, but this is my sale haul. If you just want to take one final look at it. And like I said, we'll definitely be back with another episode of Cobweb's YouTube channel talking about these 3 Veronica Lake movies once I get the chance to watch them. So thank you so much for watching. Please check out the Cobwebs podcast where we're doing a lot of cool stuff. We're about to release an episode on Noir films starring Vincent Price. It's a really fun conversation. I think you're really going to like it. Like and subscribe. Let me know, did you participate in the Shout Factory Select sale? Please let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Like, people have been so nice to me in the comments, like so kind, and I really appreciate the support. It's never goes unnoticed. It's so much appreciated. And thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next time. Thanks a lot.